I will be your MC for this evening session. All right, so first of all, thank you so much to all of you for being here, spending your weekend with us. We will make sure that this session is worth your time and energy that has been pretty much drained due to the staying indoors due to the MCO. But we believe that everything is going to go back to normal soon. Just make sure to take your vaccine. All right. Now, I will first lay out the housekeeping rules before we start. First, please mute your mic at all times unless requested otherwise. Second, if you have any question, you may ask in between the session in the comment section, or just click on the hands up button to ask our speaker right away. Third, participants are encouraged to constantly turn on your videos to for a better engagement and interaction with our guest speaker. Fourth, please be informed that every participant are required to fill out the feedback form by way of scanning the QR code on your screen or by using the link that will be shared in the chat box. And don't forget to join our Telegram group channel at Kisah Siswa Graduate Employability for getting a range of relevant content in regards to graduate employability. And lastly, all the participants are encouraged to use the virtual background Zoom Merdeka that was sent to your email like I'm using right now. All right, so before we start our session today, I would like to remind all of you to stay until the end of the session in order to claim for your certificate. And there will be a special form, a registration form to all participants that was provided by the IBM. And who knows, from just being a participant today, you will be selected to be a part of IBM. So please be here, stay with us until the end of our session today, right? Now, let me introduce the session you are part of today. Graduate Enrichment Program is a collaboration between Kisah Siswa Volunteering Program and Talent Corp Malaysia, aimed to empower the Malaysian graduate and job seekers in boosting their career development and employability. So our session today will be focusing on the industrial insights, specifically in global business services, GBS. As we all know, GBS is commonly referred to a firm that leverage the global opportunities and technologies by centralizing work, governance, and business practice. As the industry has been growing steadily every year, this would actually open the door to our future graduate to venture into the GBS industry in future. And when we talk about employment, specifically in GBS industry, so thousands of thoughts run through our mind, like, what do I do? How do I make my CV stand out? How do I stand out for an interview? So this workshop today will hopefully be just what you need. With our marvelous speaker, Miss Salina, is here today. We can learn so many things from it. But before that, let's get to know Miss Salina. All right, Miss Salina Ahmad Yazid is currently a leader in IBM and also APAC and Japan Talent Acquisition Delivery Hub. She has been in the shared service industry for more than 10 years, where she was involved in supply chain management, BPO, and human resource. Before joining the shared services industry, Ms. Salina started her career as an R&D engineer in Japan, and she has a degree from Nagoya Institute of Technology in electrical and computer engineering. After moving back to Malaysia and before joining the IBM, she spent several years in Tech Mahindra, and since then, she has moved to lead the HR delivery center with over 100 employees. And currently, she wears two hats as IBM Malaysia HR Shared Services Leader and the APAC and Japan Talent Acquisition Delivery Hub Leader. That was really amazing. I can't wait to hear from Ms. Salina. Now we shall start our session. Ms. Salina, this floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Fatin. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, hello and hi to everyone. I hope all of you are doing fine. Okay, probably if you are doing fine, just give me some reaction. Okay, I see from Mio. Hello. All right. Great to know that all of you are doing good. Okay, now I will be sharing my deck. Okay. Give me 1 minute, okay? All right, I hope you all can see my screen. All right, hold on. Let me do it again. Okay. Can you see my screen now? All right. Okay, I see a lot of reactions here. Okay. Can you give me a second? All right, trying to see. Okay. All right, okay. Okay. Sorry, okay, I'm just trying to work things out here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let me share again. Okay, my screen. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Mior, for your kind words. I just want to check a bit. Okay. 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 I hope I get it right now. Okay, so sorry for taking time to adjust with some of the technicalities. Okay. The floating box. Okay. Okay, it seems that I need to hide this one. Okay. All right, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well. And I see a lot of responses just now who are doing really great. Okay. So I have actually a video for all of you to see before I even start my session. So let's enjoy the video first. Okay, just give a few seconds for it to show. Okay.
At IBM, we've learned a lot in 109 years.
We've learned that it takes more than innovation
to make a positive global impact.
It takes stewardship.
It takes good tech. We strive to model what good tech is and what it can be, sharing data and insights, making AI transparent, and advocating for policies that positively impact the world.
It's one of the reasons why we launched the IBM Policy Lab and why the Ethisphere Institute named IBM as one of the world's most ethical companies in 2019. Because good tech
means responsibility. In 2019, we were recognized as one of the best places to work because good tech is inclusive. It's standing together to fight discrimination in all its forms and wherever it exists. Inspiring IBMers to bring their best and most authentic self to work every single day.
And it's these IBMers who are behind education programs like STEM for Girls and P-Tech, contributing their expertise to support teachers and to help learners of all ages build skills for themselves, their families, and for our global community. Why?
Because good tech is about transformation. At IBM, we've reduced our carbon dioxide emissions by nearly 40% since 2005. We support the Paris Climate Agreement and we support a responsible plan to tax carbon emissions. Because good tech means commitment. A commitment to continue to work with our global partners in leading the way to a sustainable, clean energy future.
This is what good tech looks like.
It's a pledge to the beliefs that guide us every day.
These beliefs enable our customers,
employees, suppliers,
shareholders, and communities
to be global leaders in putting smart to work for good,
to overcome worldwide challenges and embrace transformative opportunities now
and long into the future.
Okay, so that is roughly about IBM. So maybe I can ask you all, what do you think? What do you think about IBM when you saw the video? Okay, so basically IBM have a presence in 170 countries worldwide, and we have around 350,000 employees worldwide, okay? And IBM is ushering in the transformation of the world's biggest businesses to the digital era through artificial intelligence, quantum, blockchain, cloud computing, and services. Okay, thank you, Nadira. Yeah, services provider, one of the business units in here. Yes, Sangari, I also love the environment factor because I'm a person of nature, so I really like the job where I can contribute towards a good environment, also saving the world. Okay, so let me move on to next slide. Okay, just now Fatin have kindly introduced me, so I think I will just skip this slide. Okay, but before I start, okay, probably you can put in the chat box, why do you register for this session, or what do you look forward towards this session? What do you want to gain from this session? You can put it in chat. Okay, let me see. Okay. I hope that you all can be as interactive as possible, because it can be challenging, you know, to do presentation virtually, because you can't really talk directly with the participants, and you need to, yeah, I really rely on this chat box to know what you all are thinking. Okay. All right, let me see. Let me just read up some. From Ingrid, Sarah, okay, to increase my employability from the sessions while connecting with industry leaders and also my peers, okay, it's very good. Sangari, I will want to learn more about polishing my resume so that it's also a good and quality one, okay, and brush up my interview skills. Okay, very, very good. I think all of you are totally, you know, passionate and excited to learn more. Okay, so from this session, okay, I actually have some difficulty navigating this slide, so just bear with me. Okay, from this session, okay, here's what you'll take away from this session. First, I will cover about the global business services, and you will learn about the what, why, where, and how, all about global business services, because I believe that it's important for you to have a bit of an understanding about global business services. And then after that, we will move on to the career-related topic, which you all have mentioned just now, about blowing up your resume and also the insights to interview etiquette. So I hope all of you are ready for this 2-hour journey today, and just feel free to put in your questions inside the chat. It can be a lot that I need to scroll one by one, but I'll pick, you know, if you're lucky enough, I'll pick a question and I'll answer it directly here, okay? So feel free to jump in and out of the session if you need to, okay? All right, let's start then. So before I start, let me ask you, can you give a reaction or maybe a emoticon or put it in chat if you have an idea about what global business services is? Let me see in the chat. Wow. Okay. And do you all, you know what is global business services? Not really, Siti Adina. There's like a curious face from Hairi. Anyone else? Okay, a bit of a okay, sweat there. International supply chain, yes. Supply chain has to do, this global business services has to do supply chain and a lot of other processes. Okay. I see quite a number, not much, and I'm eager. That's the spirit, Pathma. Okay, sorry, Pathma. That's the spirit. Okay, Sangari. All right. Let's just move on to the topic. All right. So, okay. Basically, is the evolution of shared services and BPO, and both focused on process efficiency, improvement, and cost reduction. It's a key pillar of a digital strategy that helps companies navigate the transformative age. I'm sure even after you read this, you won't get the idea what is a global business services, right? Because it's like, okay, shared services and BPO, those words will always appear. Okay, so let me probably tell you a little bit more so that you can imagine what is a GBS. Okay, let's say you have a company, okay, and you have a supply chain company that provides, semiconductors or chips or parts for machine, for example. Okay, so you have a very large inventory, a lot of consignment plants worldwide, and you need someone to manage this, right? People will order stuff with you, and then you will need to check and then deliver the stocks. So you imagine this, right? Okay, let's say your headquarters is in Japan. This is for example, in Japan, but you have presence in other parts of the world, like North America, like in China, in Europe. Okay, however, if you use these each country's workers or employees, the rate would be different. Like if you use in, let's say, employee in UK, it will be, their salary will be very expensive. If you use an employee in Malaysia, it's going to be more affordable. Okay, this is just an example. So these global business services are actually, before this, it was a shared service, and most of the companies now are still running on the shared services operating model. Okay, so they group in all of this work instead of doing it scattered around globally. They put, like, a center, delivery center, where they can centralize all the work in one place. Okay, I'll pause that. I'll pause until that. And any comments? So basically, when you put it in one center, you will deliver the support from that place. Okay, for bridge, probably a bit. So basically, you imagine, let's say the services center is in Malaysia, but then you are doing work, transaction and support for Japan, for North America, for China, all from Malaysia. So basically, you need to imagine that the work that can be done via the shared services or the global business services must be something that you can do it remotely. So you don't imagine that you need to, take up the parts and put the box. Okay, that one definitely you can't do it in a centralized somewhere, but it's more related to jobs where you can use the system, the computer, software, okay, like inputting information, updating in the system. So that is the shared services model. Yeah. And then now, as multinational companies expanded their operations around the world, they gradually adopted their current shared services models to accommodate the global reach. And it becomes more complex, and they provide higher value added works. If before this, it's really transactional based in the shared services model. But once it transforms into a global business services, they provide more value, they provide business analytics, a higher value added job. Okay, so that is in a nutshell, all right, about global business services. I hope you all have a bit of an idea what it is. I see in the chat, like Carmen, kind of, has grasped the idea of a GPS shared services. Okay, so let's deep dive a little bit more, okay, so that you all can have a little bit more better understanding about this operating model. So like I mentioned just now, before center is a global business services, it used to be a shared services. Okay, and throughout the time, it evolves and doing more complex work and supporting more countries globally. It evolved into a global business services. But bear in mind that not many companies have reached that level of global business services. Mostly are still in shared services, and they are assessing their maturity if it is suitable enough to move on to global business services. And as you can see here, there is also another operating model, which is known as BPO, which is business process outsourcing. If there are some companies who, they create a company and they, let's say, okay, they want to provide IT specialists for a certain company. So they train their employees specifically to do the IT support, and then they will outsource their employees to support for other companies. So that is a business process outsourcing. And then you have the shared services and global. And of course, it can, like shared services, it's a little bit more local or regional level, while global business services, it's cover more globally. And you can either support internal clients or external clients. When I say internal clients, that means if let's say I'm from IBM, right? I have a problem with my laptop and I need to maybe change something or maybe reset some part in my PC. So I will contact an IT help desk support desk. Okay, so the IT person can be an IBMer as well. Okay, same IBMer, same company, or alternatively, a company can outsource the support to other company, which is not the same company. So that is the types of business in terms of sharing the services. All right, I'll move on to the next one. So you might wonder, right? What are the services that you can have in global business services? Okay. All right. So it's either that there's a huge type of services that can be supported through global business services or shared services model. Okay, from finance and accounting, and then supply chain and HR, or even customer services and IT support. So some of you, when you look for a job, you might find job roles such as procure to pay, and then order to cash, hire to retire. So hire to retire is for HR, meaning that all processes related from you hire the employee until they retire, it can be grouped into one global business services. And for those of you who are from a procurement background, there's also a process where we call it procure to pay. So from at the point of time a customer buy something until they pay back, that is also the type of support that can also be provided in global business services. Okay, I'm gonna I will pause a bit and see if you have any questions before I move on. Okay, it seems that there's no question. I will move on. Okay, so far so good. Thank you. Okay, I hope you really have a good understanding. My explanation helped you to understand the global business services. Okay, so you can see, the global business services operating worldwide. Okay, and usually it will be divided into several regional group. Okay, like us, Malaysia, we are under Asia Pacific. And then for countries in Europe or Middle East Africa, it will usually group as EMEA, Europe and Middle East Africa. And you might also see, in job scope, in job role, if they mention you will be supporting North America or Latin America. So those are under Americas. Okay, and to share with you, usually when they decide to locate a business, global business services, they will choose the most stabilized country in terms of the talent, okay, the skills of the talents, and also in terms of, the political stability, the economic stability, and then the cost of living, all will be taken into, okay, that's a question. Correct, very, very true, Anwar. Time zone might be one of the key considerations to organize meeting between this global region. Totally true, okay? So if you're working in a global business services, you will be working with different counterparts from these countries, different countries. So depending on which country you're supporting, you will need to adjust your time. And also there are some employees who don't really have a specific country where they support. So, but probably they work a lot more with people from India, for example. Okay, so maybe they will start work a little bit later and end their work a little bit later to accommodate the timing. And sometimes if you need to work with someone from the US, so, well, maybe 11 p.m. at night, you still need to attend calls. But once you have, been used to it, you will be able to adjust the timing. All right. Okay, so now, why is there a need to have these global business services? Okay, so basically, of course, like I mentioned just now, they usually locate a global business services center in a place where the cost is quite stable. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap, because if you put it somewhere which is too cheap, sometimes you might need to face challenges with the quality of work from the people there. Okay, and then if we have a global business services, we get to do the process efficient, and then we can scale up. Okay, and also you can leverage tools and technologies. And usually for global business services, they really emphasize on the customer experience, really customer focused. And so because they need to deliver very high value work. Okay, and you get to work with multiple functions, not only from your functions. Okay, and of course, like Anwar mentioned, different time zone, and you can imagine that you need to work with different type of people, so you get exposed to different culture. You get to know better about Canadian, for example, how to speak or how to liaise if you work with people from Australia. Okay, what do you need to think of, to make preparations if you work with the Japanese. So those things gathered together, if you are someone who really like to work with a very multi-racial, multicultural people, so I believe that global business services is really for you. Okay. I also have got some questions actually from from you all. Okay, one of you did share a question about what are the skills that you need, the data skills. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. In my left-hand side, it's the skills needed in a global business services. Okay, so basically in the top three, innovative thinking, data analytics, and automation. And automation includes RPA, robotic process automation. So you need to have these three skills in order to really, be successful in a global business services. If you don't have this, you will just blend with, the rest of the regular employees who don't have these skills. It's a very, very important skills for global business services. Okay, and if you see in my right-hand side, that is the top 10 skills of 2025. Okay, so we're not looking at 2021, because if you're looking at 2021, it's already 2021. You need time to build these skills, right? You can't just suddenly, okay, now analytics is important, and then you need to learn analytics. It takes time. So so it's good to know what are the future skills, okay, that will be the trend. Okay, if you see at the right-hand corner side, okay, so this is data from the World Economic Forum website, okay. So the first one is analytical thinking and innovation, similar to what you need in the global business services, which is innovative thinking. And then active learning and learning strategies. So it means that you have to continuously learning, what you should do in order to upskill yourself. And then complex problem solving. Okay, it's similar to, yeah, I'm going to go next to the critical thinking and analysis, where you see in the left-hand side, it's data analytics. So before this, we might think that, oh, okay, data analytics is probably for those who will be, a statistician who will work with data. But no, not at the moment. Okay, now data analytics is really universal, really general. All departments need to have these skills, data analytics. So you need to be well versed in numbers. Okay, you need to quantify things by numbers, because if you don't have the data, you don't have the evidence to prove your theory or anything. Okay, so data will back up all your suggestions, recommendations, needs to come with data. So I suggest that if you have the time, do look out for online training or something about data analytics. There are a lot of online certification and courses where you can learn more about data analytics. Okay, I think we have a bit of a shy audience today, because I don't see too many questions in the chat box, or maybe probably you try enough to write. It's okay, just write in the chat box. Okay, Sangar is learning something new and it's interesting. Okay. Actually, I'm at the end of my session for the global business services. So before we move on to the next topic, yeah, this is your chance to ask questions about GBS. Okay, so Ajwad Ibrahim is busy taking notes and Anwar is amazed. All right, let me see. I think there is a question from Shamin. Sorry, can I know, is it true that IBM want to close their business in Malaysia? Because it's a little bit controversial. Okay, Shamin, let me take your question, but I'm not sure which part is controversial a few months ago. But probably, I'm assuming it probably might be related to the closure of our CIC in Cyberjaya. Client Innovation Center. And that is a part of IBM sub company. And the headquarters is still running on. As usual, business are doing great. You can search for IBM, okay, Google for IBM, Malaysia, and there are a lot of projects that's happening. And don't worry, it will not close in Malaysia. IBM, yeah, we are still hiring, and look up if you can find a lot of jobs opening. I mean, okay, let me see. Is there any GPS center in Malaysia? Yes, Nadira, there are a lot, I tell you. Okay, and I would say, let me just share, in Malaysia, probably you might want to look at area like PJ, KL, and also Penang, right? There are a lot of GPS center in Malaysia. And also let me see. Oh, it's actually a question from Hairi. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so focus on the places where the talent sits. Basically, the job will go to where the talents are located. Okay, so there are a lot of GPS center in Malaysia, and also if you want to know which companies, you should focus on the large companies, the big companies, because to run a GPS, you need funds, you need, there are costs, right? If you are just a small company, you can't run a shared services, even a shared services center or a BPO. It needs to be big enough that it can be a GPS, right? Let me take some more. Strong programming, but is company will request strong professional skills programming for company like IBM? Yes, I think regardless of which company that you want to go, if it is a technical skills in programming, you will need to be really good at it. Okay. Okay. In terms of the downsizing, Ida, in terms of the downsizing, okay, question from Ida, right? I think it's a merit for countries like Malaysia, because the jobs from North America, the jobs from Europe, Middle East, Africa are coming to Malaysia because they want to reduce the cost. Okay, Malaysia is more affordable, so there might be downsizing there a bit because the jobs moving to Malaysia, for example. Okay. All right. I think I'll take one more because we will need to go to the resume glow up session. Okay. Okay. From Lee Kaman. Is there a must of IT or is it English? I think it's English background to get into IBM. Okay, it depends to the role actually. Although it's IBM, it's an IT company, but not necessarily you need to have an IT degree or IT qualifications. It depends to the job that you are applying. Even in IBM, we have finance, accounting, marketing, programming, HR. So it really depends to the type of role that you're applying. And I believe being good in English is very important regardless of the company, because most of the people, even people from other countries, they will use English as the medium of language to communicate. Okay, so the better you can communicate to people, it's easier for you to do your work. Okay, there are quite a lot of questions coming in. Okay. Career, I will cover it later, okay? Okay. All right. I think, okay, let me just take, let me see. I can take just one more from Hairi Nazwan. How far is GBS industry affected so far by the pandemic? FYI, I believe it's one of the industry that's not really impacted by the pandemic because it's running smoothly as usual. Reason why you don't need to go to the office. You can do it from your home. you can support it just using, one laptop and have access to all the systems that you need for your company. And like I mentioned, you don't need to go to the office during the pandemic because you can do it from home. And for your information, we have been working from home since March last year. And for me, I haven't stepped into the office to work so far, and everything is smooth sailing. So I believe it's not really that affected by the pandemic in terms of the GBS industry. But of course, if the company, doesn't have good sales and so on, it will automatically impacts whatever functions in the company. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. So really great questions and really engaging. Thanks for all the questions. So without further ado, because I'm really scared that we might be short of time, because I have a lot to cover, especially on the resume glow up and also the interview part. Okay, so let's move on to the resume session. Okay, so in this session, okay, I will share with you what to include in your resume. But to be honest, I won't, I won't teach you step by step. You need to do this and that. I believe that, you all have the rough idea of how to create a resume. Okay, and then I'll share some tips how to glow up your resume and how you can tell your story into that one piece of paper that we call resume. Okay, but before that, let's do an activity together. But I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Mentimeter. Have you all used this throughout your own online virtual classes? Okay, yes. Okay, so that's good. So just if you have using a laptop, you don't have a mobile, I think everyone has mobile, right? You can take the QR code and access the Mentimeter. Oh, Azhari, it's not familiar. Okay, so this is going to be your first time, and I hope this will be the next time people ask you, do you know Mentimeter? You know about it. All right. And then if you're using your laptop, you can go to the website www.menti.com. Okay, and once you're in that site, you enter the code 31970416. Okay, I hope you all have entered the page. Can you give me some response if you have managed to access the Mentimeter? Okay. So let me go to the reshare my screen to the Mentimeter. Oh, I can see some of you have started sharing. Let me see. So my question for the first one, which industry are you planning to join? Okay, if you aren't really sure what kind of industry that you want to join, you can also type the job that you are looking for. Maybe you want to be an IT specialist, or you want to be a programmer, a developer, or maybe something related to marketing. Okay, I quite a huge number in marketing, human resources. Wow. Let me look at the smaller ones. Okay, there is international supply chain, accounting, food and beverage, corporate communication, halal executive. Oh, the human resources are getting bigger. Okay, so far we have got 82 response, 85. Okay. So human resources, marketing. Okay, very good. Okay, so next. Let's move on to the next question. Okay. This is the important one. Do you have a completed resume? Let me see. Those, don't feel shy to share the truth. I mean, oh, okay, you all are being quite honest. I haven't started anything. Okay, halfway there. Yes, I do 28%. Oh, I think 43% it's increasing for the I haven't started anything. So I hope that this is your starting point. This session with me today is your starting point and will encourage you and will give you motivation to start creating your own resume. Okay. Okay, I'm so worried that the rate one is increasing. Okay, 42%, almost half. Okay, so without wasting any time, let's move on to our resume session. Okay, I will share back my slide. So these are one of the skills actually, you need to be able to toggle between your screens. And okay, just bear with me if I or any technical difficulty. But let me just check. Can you view my screen now? I have my screen back to the presentation. Okay, great. So now it's your chance to tell your story. Yeah, it's all about you and you and your qualifications and what you're good at. So resume, basically it's like your ticket to the interview. Okay, it's equally important as the interview, but if you don't nail this, you might lose the opportunity to the person next to you or to another candidate who just do it better. So it's good that you joined this. So I hope that you will start writing your resume. So it's very important for you to create a solid resume. And also a resume is actually about story. Okay, so please don't make it, although I'm saying that it's about story, but don't make it too lengthy, like a lot wordy, long sentences. It's more, you need to make it crisp, short, and really precise. Okay. So basically, you are the main character in that piece of paper, okay, in that resume, and you control the narrative. Storytelling is important here, as this will connect to the story that you will share with the interviewer during the session. So basically, if you created a good resume and you do a very good prep work for your resume, it will help you during the interview. It will definitely help you. So you must know about yourself, your strengths and achievements. So when you're in, so probably I believe that most of you, probably some are still not yet graduate, or some might have graduated and looking for a job. Okay. So while you are, you don't have that work experience, you might feel that there's not much to include in your resume, but actually, though you have more qualifications and experience that you'd initially think. So start by listing your education, and then all the good things. If you have a strong GPA, put it, CGPA, put it in there. But if it's so, I suggest just, you don't need to put it, your result. Okay. And if you're on a dean list, or include that information in the education section of your resume. And even if you do not have a work experience, okay, you likely have participated in activities or volunteer work that you can list. And then, for example, you might have hobby. That's why I tell you that it's a story about you. For example, you have a hobby, and the hobby can be beneficial for some organizations. For example, your hobby is writing a blog. So it shows that you have the sense of writing. So it depends to the quality of the blog that you write as well. Okay. And then if, for example, you like taking photography, and if you're applying for a marketing job, it's very good to put that inside as well, although it's just a hobby. Okay. So, Stephanie is saying that, can I send my resume to you? Oh, okay. Yeah, go on. You can send it. Send your resume to me and I'll have a look at it. Okay, so basically, you are the storyteller. Yeah. In a professional and formal way. So what to include in your resume? I know you might not have job experience, but there's a lot of things that you can actually include in your resume. Okay. So some of them, like things like academic achievements, like I mentioned just now. Okay. And then awards and certification, if you get a reward, or if you take any short course, okay, and you get to you get a certification, okay, and lately nowadays you can just go to websites like Coursera or maybe LinkedIn, Google. They have online free training. Even if you go to the IBM website, we offer free online courses, enterprise courses that you can take and you can get certified, right? So when you're first getting started writing a resume as a student, include as much information as possible, okay? And later on, you will need to choose only the important ones that you want to highlight. Okay, only the important ones. So you put everything first and then you prioritize, okay, which one you want to highlight, and aim to have your resume be a single page, not too long, okay, because the recruiters basically will be the first level who will be, filtering this resume, your resumes. And they don't have time to go through 3 to 5 pages of resume. Okay, your first glance at it, they will take maybe 2-3 minutes of speed reading. And then they will make decision either to progress you to the next stage or not. Because like for fresh graduates, there are a lot of applications coming in, hundreds for just one single position. So you imagine you need to really stand out in your one first page. Okay, so you can also include your volunteer experience, your campus experience. Okay, so maybe you have involved in university editorial, language, cultural clubs, or anything else, and then make sure that you emphasize any leadership roles you played, accomplishments you made if you're the president or vice president or treasurer, okay? Skills, and also emphasize on the skills you developed throughout your activities that you have joined, okay? If you do a fundraising, maybe for a charity, okay? So involvement in sports can also be included, especially if it can be framed to show leadership skill qualities that you have. And it also shows that you are able to work very well in a team. Okay, and relate your job abilities, your abilities to your job. So look carefully at the jobs that you want. You look at the job and then you develop your resume with that position in mind. Okay, you need to match it, right? If you are applying for a designer job, so you need to highlight skills that is related to designer, okay, and not really highlight much about unnecessary skills. And then list all the awards that you probably have got throughout your university years. Okay.
Miss Alina, there's a few questions in the chat box. Maybe I can read out for you.
Definitely, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So the first question is from Siti Aisha. Okay, the question is, what if an individual label him or herself as someone who are not skilled enough? Maybe he has 5 skills, but each skill only like 30 to 50%. Is it fine to him? to include it in the resume? That was for the first question.
Okay, a tricky question. If you don't have other skills to highlight, then just put it in. And of course, improve those skills, because you don't want to end up suddenly you got that job, and then when you join, you're unable to deliver the skills that you have mentioned. So if it is 30 to 50%, yes, you can include it, but make sure that you raise it up to 70 to 80%. And you'll learn more when you join the company. Okay.
Okay, another question from Nur Amira. The question is, I would like to ask, what is the difference between the resume and the CV?
Okay. This is actually quite a famous question. And CV and resume are being used often, but the difference, sometimes it really differs from the culture of the country, where like places like UK, they might use a different term. Okay, they might use a CV, and then for US they might use a resume. And actually, CV can be a little bit more detailed compared to a resume. So it's not that much different. But basically, we want to give the employer the really summarized, short but crisp information and not too lengthy. Okay.
And I think I've picked the last question from Farah Shahira. Okay, the question is, for someone who participates in a lot of activities and have a lot of awards and certificate, do we still have to list all of it, or just pick and choose the one that relevant to the job as well?
Yes, it can be very, very challenging to pick which one you want to highlight, right? And also another advice, I would say that you focus on your university ones. And I do get, people still adding their primary achievements. You don't need to include that. So probably in the university, and if you have too many, you can mention how many projects you join, how many clubs you join, but then just highlight the most significant and the best achievement. And also, yes, connect back to the job that you are applying to. If that job requires skills that you have done, that you have done in your university, you can highlight that event, particular event or achievement or award in the resume. Okay, I think we have quite very, very good questions. And Fatin, probably we want to give a little bit of break to everyone before we continue.
Okay.
Maybe Fatin, sorry, let me just finish a little bit more on the resume part, and then we can have a short break. Okay, I have a couple more slides to go, just a bit more. Okay. Here are some more tips for your resume. Okay, so use action verbs. Because action verbs help show your responsibility. So when describing your achievement, use action words like I led, I researched, I created, I organized. So it shows that you are in action, doing all the things that you are mentioning in the resume. To quantify when possible, okay? Let's say you manage an event. So make sure you include the number. For example, the number of participants it's an event where there are 500 participants join, okay? Or maybe a part-time job that you've done, which you serve 50 to 100 customers daily. That is, to quantify what you do. And then showcase the relevant skills. Yes, like the question from one of our audience just now. And don't forget, very, very important, to edit and proofread it. And And also, I also suggest that you use any online grammar checker tool and check, just do a final check if there are any grammar issues which you can fix it earlier, okay? And then use a resume example or a template, okay, so that you don't miss all the important stuff, okay? And tweak your resume for the job. And last but not least, you need to get help. If you are stuck, probably you can reach out to your university team, okay? And then they might provide some services, or another way is to stay connected with people in LinkedIn, for example, with recruiters, because they can give you very, very useful advice. Okay. So that is all for me, and I think we've answered quite a lot of questions just now, Fatin. And I think we can take a short break before we enter the interview part.
All right. Okay, everyone, we're going to have a short break. It's just a short break for 5 minutes. So if you want to have a drink or you want to go to toilet, you can do. But please don't leave the meeting. Okay, just leave it open and come back at 3:45. Okay, everyone? 5-minute break. Okay, everyone. I hope that everyone can make it get into the session now, because we're gonna start soon for the next section, which is for basic etiquette for interview. But before that, Miss Alina, I think there are a few questions which is I think about the same thing. So I think I can read up for you this question by Nadira Nakila. Is it a part-time that not related with our position that we apply must include in resume? Okay. There are a few participants that asked for this question actually.
So actually, if you don't have much thing to highlight in your resume, it's actually a good point to add your part-time job, because it shows that you have the experience working with people. You know, you have the experience in communications, handling difficult situations. So that will be a good point for you to add it. Although it's not related, but there are, you know, you need to be able to explain it during the interview later. What are the transferable skills that you have gained from your part-time job? Because basically in any job, there are skills that can be transferred to another job. For example, communication skills, personal leadership skills, right? All those are something that you can, regardless of in anywhere you go, you can use those skills.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Salina. I think you may proceed for the next section, which is for basic etiquette for interview. So if you have any question, just put it in the chat box, or you can also using the hands up button, okay, and unmute yourself to ask the question, okay? All right.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I hope you have, managed to get some break. And now we will move on to our next section, which is the basic etiquettes for interviews. Okay, so in this session, I will cover the basic etiquettes and the preparation that you need to do before the interview, during the interview, and also post-interview. So it can be a little bit longer than the resume part, okay? And as usual, feel free to drop your questions inside the chat box. Okay, now everyone, okay? I hope you all can focus on the session now. Okay, now imagine that you just got a phone call from the recruiter, and the recruiter just told you that, hey, congratulations, you're shortlisted to the interview. Yahoo. So this is your first step, right? And I'm sure you all must be excited if you get a call from the recruiter for an interview. So the old ways before the pandemic, this might be something that you have imagined what interview looks like. Okay, thinking about suitable clothes to wear, arrange transportation, search in Waze or Google Maps, the office location, and all of other stuff, including what would you talk during the interview. And this also, might be the situation as well. You meet the interview face to face, and there's adrenaline rush going through all, with the preparation, with the traveling and everything. And it is your first interview, and you might feel a little bit nervous, after the trip to the company. And the reality now, post-COVID, okay, 86% of the organization are conducting virtual interviews to hire candidates during the pandemic. And I'm confident to say that for GBS in Malaysia, it will be almost 100% virtual interviews. And for me, so far, I haven't conducted any face-to-face interview during the pandemic. It's all virtual. And I've even onboarded my team virtually. I haven't met the person that I've interviewed face-to-face. So this is the reality now, the normal now, and this has influence to the safety of the candidate and hiring managers, plus the employees of the company. Okay, also local restrictions and guidance on the movement control order will play an important factor if you're gonna go attend interview face-to-face or a virtual interview. But it's 86% worldwide are doing it. It is virtually. So the good news is that you don't need to arrange the transportation and go through the hassle of that part. Okay, interviews can be done right from where you are located, and but still you need to do quite a number of preparations, although you are doing it from your comfy seat. Okay, so for this session, I will focus on the video interview. Okay, however, the basic tips in this session can also be applied to the face-to-face interview. Okay, and I'm sure you all might have used some of this video conference software. Probably you can put it inside the chat if you have used at least 3 or all of it from Sangari. Wow, 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 oh, amazing. So I believe if any company is using, will be different, right? Different companies will use different software. So you will be no issues in terms of technical, because you have tried it and you use it, all of them. So I won't talk too much about this one because you all are really good at it. Okay, and for your information, although it's a video interview, there are several types. Okay, basically, I would say it is divided into 3 types. So the first one is a web-based system interview, where it is time-bound, meaning that once you enter the website, there are questions and they ask, and you need to answer it with a time limit, and it is recorded and will be sent to the company. Okay, and there might be some companies who will ask you to film yourself answering the list of questions that they have provided, and it's a self-paced. And of course, we have just now the live interview, but my advice is if it is a self-paced one, make sure you don't do it too late. Okay, do it quickly, don't delay it. And also if you have any technical issues using this software, because some companies might use different software, and HireVue, Willow are among some of the popular recruitment software. So make sure you reach out to the recruiter and let them know if you are not able to log in or you face any difficulties. Okay, so let me cover about the types of the questions that you should be expecting from the interviewers. Okay, so there will be several types of questions that you will be asked, but basically behavioral and situational questions will be the main type of questions, because this type of question, it can cover questions about your skills, the leadership qualities, growth mindsets, how innovative you are, and your capability to adapt with changes. And most likely, if you are a university student and you don't have a part-time or internship experience, most likely you will get more situational questions. And what is a behavioral question? It's a bit hard to pronounce, behavioral questions. Okay, so behavioral questions will gauge your past experience and how you handle the situation based on the real examples that you've shared with the interviewer. Okay, and let me just share with you some examples, okay, of behavioral question. Tell me about how you work effectively under pressure. Describe a decision that you made that was unpopular and how you handled implementing it. So it will test your behavior when how you handle situations based on what you have done in the past. Okay. And while situational question is a hypothetical questions to describe how would you behave in future or a hypothetical scenario. For example, okay, you have a difficult colleague to work with. How do you handle the colleague? So this is something that you haven't, probably you might not have experienced it before. So it will challenge you to think in future, if you are in this kind of situation, how do you handle it? And bear in mind that there are no right or wrong answers to this. It's just to gauge how you deal with the situation, how you manage it, and to check, if you can explain it well as well. Okay, and of course, the interviewer will probe you using the bar probing questions. B for background, A action, and R results. Okay, so I would recommend that when you answer, this type of questions from the interviewer, make sure you have the background of the situation, explain to the, give the interviewer the background of the situation, and then what action do you take or will you take for situational question, and then the result, saying that what was the outcome, what is the expected result. So basically what actually you have learned from that experience. All right. So you might want to prepare some real situation that you have faced in your life that you can share it with the interviewer later on, and prepare what is the background, what the actions that you took, and what was the outcome, what have you learned from there. So that is the most important. Avoid answering like when you have a difficult colleague to work with, how do you handle the colleague? Avoid answering very short sentence, just one line. Try to make it 3 to 5 lines using that background, action, results method. Okay, let me see. There is a question. Okay, if interviewer asks, introduce yourself, what's the best answer? Yes, Nadira, it is, I understand it can be confusing, right? It's just too general. Introduce yourself, okay? You can introduce from anywhere, right? But basically, you don't really need, what the interviewer wants is to know a little bit more about yourself. Okay, you can tell a bit about yourself in terms of which university did you graduated from, what is your major, why did you take it, what do you have in mind for your goal in your career, and then probably you want to tell what are you looking forward for this job interview. But don't go too much into details. Like I often experience candidates who will first introduce slightly about themselves, and they will go to one by one what they have done. Basically, they read the resume. So don't do that. Just really simple things about yourself. And then, of course, try to make it really interactive, meaning that you don't wait for the interviewer to ask you questions. Try to make it a little bit more conversational, be proactive to ask if you are not sure what they want. Okay, so Chuyi is asking for the bar response, how should I reply the interviewer if I do not have background of the given situation or experience? So that is why they are giving you that theoretical or hypothetical situation, because they want you to put yourself in that kind of situation. Even if you don't have experience in dealing with that situation, you need to imagine, if you are put in that kind of situation, how and what will you do? Okay. Question from Evita. Is it polite to ask about salary to the interviewer? Because sometimes in the web doesn't mention salary. Okay, my advice is ask the recruiter. Salary, benefits, all those stuff, you check with the recruiter. Because basically the hiring manager is there to assess your skills and to see if you are fit for the role. In terms of the salary, benefits, and so on, you check with the recruiter. Okay. I will take one last question before I move to another slide. If about weakness, choose the weaknesses that make it positive. Okay, so it's not a question. It is actually a sharing by one of the audience. All right, now you need to get ready. You've known the types of questions, okay? And you've prepared the best scenarios or whatever the scenarios that you can share with the interviewer, okay? And now getting ready before the interviewer. So like I mentioned, this is focusing more on the video interview. So you need to get comfortable with the setup, okay? No matter what type of format or technology that will be used, it's a good idea to practice it with your friend or family beforehand. Okay, like example, if you're going to use Zoom, maybe you want to, ask someone, your siblings or your family, to log in and try your system. Okay, that means you need you need two devices, right, to test it. Okay, and look for space with good lighting. The best is a natural light, but I know sometimes it it depends to the weather as well. So if you don't have a natural light, you can make sure you have a good your room have a good lighting, or if you don't have good lighting, you can also get yourself the ring light, like the one in the picture. Okay, and use soft lighting that is in front of your face, and check if there are no dark shadows. Okay. Because we see a lot of videos where the light is too dark and the face is not clear. Okay, so you will lose the benefits of giving that positive facial expression to the interviewer. So make sure the light source is not behind you, and set your phone to landscape mode. So in the picture, it's a vertical, so it's a portrait mode. So I would advise to use a landscape mode unless otherwise specified by the company. Okay, so fix the angle of your phone so that you're looking straight to the camera. Okay, if needed, you might need to lift your laptop, or you can adjust your device using the sticks like in the picture. Okay, and find a quiet area without much background noise. Avoid areas where you as the will be distracted. Okay, so find an area with simple and clean background. Make sure your room is not cluttered. Okay, that is very, very important. It speaks a lot about the person's character. If you have a cluttered room, I would advise you just find an empty wall and use it as a background. Okay, so you can use a plain wall, shelves, or any background without much movement and distraction. Okay. So it often takes a few tries to get the hang of the angling the camera. Okay, so you might want to record yourself and rewatch yourself with your eyes. Where is it looking at, and then also test your audio, like I mentioned, and take a minute to think about what you will say. Of course, dress professionally, even if you're sitting down, because you might not know when you have to stand up. If worst case scenario, if you need to stand up, and like I mentioned, you need to have a place where there's less distractions. Make sure you give heads up to your family or housemates if you have a very noisy siblings, small kids, where they might not really listen to what you're saying. Get help from your parents and tell them, give them heads up, hey, I'm going to have an interview later on, so I need a little bit of privacy so that I can focus in the interview. And you can prepare a piece of paper and pen for notes so that when you need it, you don't have to go and find it, right? Okay. What else? Let me see in the question. Okay. Is it okay to use virtual background during live? Yes, it's okay. It's okay. You can use the virtual background if you don't have a suitable, background to place. Any other questions regarding this, the preparation? So, and other things I would say, like, make sure that, you charge your battery full. If you're using a handphone or laptop, you prepare the charger, some backup. Okay, you don't want to, oh my God, suddenly the laptop is like only 5%, but you still have a long way through the interview. So make sure you have those as well. If you have any other sharing that probably you want to share with us, you can also put it in the chat. Or any of you have, by the way, I'm just curious, any of you have gone through any interviews so far? Okay, some of you have gone. All right. Let me see. Okay. I actually saw a question just now. I'm scrolling. Okay, what if suddenly disconnected? Is it proper? Yes, don't worry, and keep calm. Okay, it's normal to have some technical issues. I did have technical issues just now at my starting of the presentation. I'm not sure if I'm calm or not. Okay, but my advice is to keep calm and, be nice to yourself, forgive yourself. Okay, not everyone's perfect. Just let the interviewer know, okay, that you got disconnected and you are trying to reconnect back. Or even you can also contact the recruiter and let the recruiter know that I'm in an interview and then suddenly I got disconnected, and maybe you can't even connect back, right? There might be that kind of scenario. So tell the recruiter, probably you might need to reschedule it. It's okay. Let me see. I saw a question just now. How to overcome our nervous feeling issued during interview, though we've already, wait, I can't scroll actually. Can't read down. Let me, give me 1 minute. I'm scrolling down your questions. Okay. From you, how to overcome our nervous feeling issue during interview, though we've already prepared for the interview session. Yes, you might get nervous, yes. Just remind yourself maybe to practice breathing, do a little bit of mindfulness breathing, okay? Breathe. When you are in a panic mode or you're feeling nervous, you breathe. And also think that the person in the screen is also a human. And although that is a hiring manager, the hiring manager themselves might be nervous as well, interviewing people. Okay, some might be their first experience unless you get a more senior or experienced hiring manager. Okay. Yes. Another tip is always to practice. But don't over practice as well, because it will make you nervous. All right. The best is to really have, a conversation, and don't memorize too much about the things that you want to say. You need to visualize it in your mind, what you will answer to the interviewer before the interview session. You visualize it, you imagine you're answering the question, successfully. Visualize to success, and also practice. Okay, so I see quite a number of you have attended interview. Okay, Sangari, Alexis, Amira. Okay, and some for internship positions. Not yet, Tio, Fakro. Okay, so from now on, you might have the opportunity, you will be attending interviews. Okay. Any other question? Yeah, for live interview, how would we respond to questions that we can't answer? And how is the manner to answer it? If it's a technical questions and you can't answer it, if it is a technical question, it's definitely you can't answer it if you can't answer it, right? But if it is like a situational or behavioral, you know, first don't panic or don't try to quickly, answer the question if you don't have it. Just tell the interviewer, give me some time, and give some time to you and think about it. You basically have something that you can answer, but if it is like if it's definitely you don't are unable to answer, then you just say that you don't have the answers to the questions yet. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think that's about it. Because we have another, okay, we are running out late and I have some few, let me see. Okay, slides more. So I will quickly go to the next one. Okay, so during the interview, okay, so make sure that you stand by 15 to 30 minutes earlier. Okay, 30 minutes might be a little bit too long, but it's okay. Just to open your laptop, your mobile, and stand by. Open the software, everything, just to see if there are any technical issues. Because if you have any technical issues, you be able to connect with the recruiter before the interview, right? And not during the interview. And like I mentioned, look at the camera and adjust your laptop. And if you see this picture, the lady directly looking at the camera, okay? And don't be too scripted, robotic, or monotonous, okay? You want it to sound like a conversation with someone you know, okay? And make sure your camera is not shaky, okay? And smile and connect with the audience, show some energy, okay? I know you're panicked or you might be nervous inside, but you need to show some energy, because if you don't show it, it's hard for you to engage with the interviewer, okay? And be authentic, okay? I will also not to do too much movement with your hand, okay? Because you might, it can be a bit of a distraction, okay? So you might can ask someone, probably if you are recording it, okay, ask someone to help you to record the answer, okay? Introducing yourself is a good start, and you also need to be creative, okay? Also think about strong ending, ask questions to the interviewer, okay? Make sure you ask questions, okay? Please prepare about 3 to 5 questions that you can ask the interviewer. If you leave without asking questions, it gives the impression that you are not interested with the job or lack of passion. That also shows that you are not a critical thinker who can come up with good questions. So leaving a good impression, good questions, give good questions to the interviewer, can give a good impression and also can change the interviewer's decision. Okay. So based on my experience, okay, I see that candidates don't really ask questions at the end of the session. When I ask them, do you have any more? Do you have any questions? And they will say that, no. And as, are you sure? I will check 3 times. Okay. If your interview is keep asking you, are you sure you don't have any question? That means they are waiting for a question for you. Okay. Okay, there has been some requests asking, okay, about what kind of questions. There are a lot of questions that you can ask, but of course, don't ask questions that are really, basic, simple questions that you can probably Google it, right? So things that probably you can Google, better don't ask the interviewer. So you among the things that you ask, okay, is there anything else that you need to know more about me, that that is not clear? You can ask the interviewer. Probably the interviewer still have questions for you, but they didn't ask. So you can ask, do you have any other things that is probably stated in my resume or what I've shared just now that you need to know more of further details? Also, another question that you can ask about is that what might be the things that I've shared just now to you that probably I can improve more to get a better chance on this job. Okay, what are the things that you can improve so that you can get this job? And you can also ask, what do the interviewer is expecting from you in the first 30 days that you join their organization? Okay, probably some questions like that. Okay, and if you don't have any ideas, you can also just do a quick search in the internet. There are a lot of career websites which you can find the sample of questions, good quality questions to ask the interviewer before you attend. Okay, let me see, I have another 30 minutes. Okay, how if they ask about our intern, but our intern workplace is not so good for development? What? Okay, don't lie. and be on, you can be honest, but in a positive manner. Okay. Okay, so you don't say that it's not so good for development. Probably you can rephrase it and say there are a lot of room for improvement in the previous organization for learning and development, and you want to pursue better places which can provide a better learning and development. My advice is never ever talk negatively about your previous organization. Okay, never ever talk negatively about your previous organization, because it gives a bad impression to the hiring manager. So keep it to yourself, but you can share honestly. It's just that you need to rephrase it to make it positive. Okay. Okay. Internship allowance, Alexis, you can ask the recruiter. Okay. Unless the company is so small that they don't have a recruiter, then you can ask the interviewer. But if there is a recruiter, anything that is related to allowance, I suggest that you talk to the recruiter. Okay, now that you know what you need to prepare and what you should do during the interview, and you have done the interview, okay, is it the end of it? There's some things, and there are some things that you need to do even after the interview. Okay, let's see. So post-interview, okay, don't forget to send a thank you note. You can send it through email. Okay, and if you don't know the manager's email, you can get it from the recruiter, or even during the interview session, you can actually tell the hiring manager, if let's say I have further questions after this, can I send an email to you, and where can I get your email, for example? Okay. And most likely the hiring manager will connect you to the recruiter. Okay. And then you've done the interview, and you think you aced it and you got it, but of course you are not sure, right? Did you get the job? Will you be called back for a second interview? So it depends as much on what you do after interview, if you did a good interview or not, right? So immediately after the interview, don't forget, send a note, and in fact, write down what's your takeaway from the session with the interviewer, okay? Think about the questions that the interviewer has asked and which skills and responsibilities seem most important to the interviewer, okay? So these impressions might easily forgotten. So you need to write it down quickly so that you can write it inside the thank you notes and also emphasize on your skills that you can bring into the organization, okay? And also, usually employees might take some time before they decide to hire someone, okay? It means that you'll likely have to wait longer than you are expecting. It really differs from a company to company. And then although you should follow up after the interview, make sure it's after a certain period of time has passed, and just follow up once, okay? If you start pestering the interviewer about whether they've made the hiring decision, you'll end up being noisy. And that is something that we really want to avoid. And unfortunately, I will be sharing you the ugly truth that some employers generally might not even reach out to you to give you the bad news, even if you don't get. And more often than not, employers do not get back to candidates who aren't being offered to the job. I know this is really, really depressing, but this is sometimes it happens. So, so you can follow up with the recruiter, okay? But like I mentioned, just don't do it too frequently. Do it once, and if you still haven't heard anything after multiple weeks, then there's no harm in sending a second note, okay? And that's it. You can probably assume that if you still haven't got anything, you can should begin your journey for the next interview or job if you still don't hear anything. And that is unfortunate for the company who practices that. And you might be facing those kind of scenarios. Oh yeah, Sophia, I hope I've answered your question. Okay, not too frequent, once, and if still there's no response, you can do a second follow-up. Question by Hairi, how to know if either the interview is from HR or hiring manager? So ask the recruiter, the person who first called you, ask these questions. Okay. Are we usually told how long we would have to wait? It really differs from company to company, but for IBM, we will tell you that you should be expecting your result within maybe the same week or the following week. Depends to which department you're applying for, okay? I have some more handy tips for all of you, okay? So the first one, interview timing might influence. So when the recruiter calls you up and wants to set an interview session, actually it can be done anytime, depending on both availability, the hiring manager and also you as the candidate. So if you get the chance to pick, I suggest that you take the morning session because everyone is still refreshed and still energized. Okay, avoid taking the night session because you both might be tired, and also avoid the afternoon ones as well, both because we might be a bit tired and have gone through a hectic day, and it might impact the experience for both of you. And then make sure that you prepare several time slots for the recruiter. Okay, don't just give one time slot because it might not be matching with the hiring manager's availability. So provide several slots so that if the first slot is not working for the hiring manager, then they can use the second or the third time slot. Okay. And of course, if the recruiter get in touch with you and tell you that they want to arrange an interview, but they still haven't arranged it, so you need to be proactive. You can connect back with the recruiter and ask about follow-up. When will the interview take place? But don't be too pushy, right? And then, I think it's really important for you to understand between a recruiter and the hiring manager. Basically, the recruiter is the middle person who will liaise with the hiring manager and the candidate. Okay, and benefits, salary, everything will be done by the recruiter. The recruiter will discuss this with the hiring manager. And also, you need to be able to show that you are, able to solve simple issues. If there are simple issues, try to solve it by yourself first. Okay, and then if you can do, you should do some research about the company and their culture. Okay, because most likely they will find someone who can fit with their culture, and you need to do this research probably throughout your networks, or or you can also do check their website. Usually they will share what their culture is. And if you can get to know the hiring manager before the interview, you can, this is not stalking, okay, but just, probably do a search in LinkedIn just to get an idea of who is the hiring manager. Or you can even ask the recruiter to tell you a bit about the hiring manager, so that you kind of build the connection and relationship, the rapport before the interview. Okay. These are the handy tips. And last but not least, let me go to the questions a bit before I close this session. What if they take too long? Suddenly when we got other job, is it proper to let them know or just say not interested? Okay, don't tell that you're not interested, okay? You can let them know that you have secured another job, but you're still interested if there are any future openings. Okay, don't close the door yet. Okay, make sure that you continue to have the relationship, because you wouldn't know, maybe in future you might be looking for a new job. Okay, from Ingrid, how should we reply to the company if they send us a rejection email? So if it is an email, you don't need to reply back to the rejection email if it is a computer generated email. But if it is from the recruiter, then you can reply and tell them that, okay, it's unfortunate that you didn't get the job, but it is a very good experience having to know about the company, the culture. You can, say all those positive things. Okay, everyone, we have another 1 minute. I hope that you all don't mind if I take another 2 to 3 minutes. Is that okay to close things up? Okay, so thank you, Hairi. So basically, everyone, my advice is that you need to know about yourself, because there are people who probably don't really know about their self, their capabilities, their strengths, their weakness. So know about yourself and put it in writing and be able to share during the interview. Okay, and be yourself. Just be yourself. Don't try to imitate or copy someone else. Just be yourself, authentic. Okay, authentic. And of course, share your story. And you need to find a way for people to listen to your story, right? And seek for opportunity, be smart. And if you don't have a LinkedIn account, it's good if you have a LinkedIn account and follow the industry leaders, HR leaders, and keep yourself updated with the market. You can build and expand your network and build your digital presence, because now everything is digital. You know, people wouldn't know about you if you don't build the network. So you need to build the network, put yourself out there, and you make sure you register to the job boards, you know, LinkedIn, JobStreet, Monster. Always check your email, handphone. Stay alert, because you'll never know when the interview session would come, right? Although you might have submitted your entry, you know, a couple of months back, and suddenly they come back to schedule an interview for you. So be alert, stay alert. And you can also register with, you know, recruiting agencies, companies, because sometimes they give you really great advice. And also another advice from me is that be more open and explore jobs, not limited to what you've learned at the university, because sometimes it can be limited, the roles for your specific major. So you need to be more open. And if there are opportunities and you think that, yeah, okay, I'm willing to give it a shot, why not, right? And try something new. So be brave to share content and everything, all right? So thank you so much, everyone, for this 2-hour session. I have so much to share, but it's really limited. But thank you so much. I hope that we can meet again in future. And if you want to stay connected, you can find me in LinkedIn. Thank you so much. Okay. I will hand it back to our MC.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Salina. It was a really insightful, informative, and also engaging sharing session on the employability, especially in the GBS industry. And it was really great when Ms. Salina touched about the video interview, that I think we are less being exposed on how do we react during the online interview, or the basic etiquette when we're attending a video interview, and also on the technical part. And I believe that our audience today is really interested with the three and also the tips for the resume, and also with the interview session. Okay. All right. So before we end our session, we will have a photo session. So I hope that everyone can open your camera. So let's take this moment together with Miss Alina. Okay. And I think technical team, are you ready? Hello. Okay. Yeah, just a second. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Last one. One smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done. All right, thank you very much, technical team from SITS. So before we end our session today, I would like to kindly remind all the participants to fill in the feedback form by way of scan the QR code as shown in the screen. And don't forget to join our Telegram group channel at Kisah Siswa Graduate Employability to gain a range of relevant content in regards to graduate employability. So thank you everyone for your unwavering attention. Thank you, Ms. Salina. We hope that we have our next engagement in the upcoming event. All right. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe wherever you are and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.